It's not often that members of political parties agree, but MPs dealing with environmental matters say to send a strong message to their constituencies, they have to stand together. Known as the South African Legislators for the Environment, they tried to make a small dent in cleaning up some of the more than 2,000 tons of plastic waste generated in the country. Their first stop was here at the Bokmakiri Canal in Cape Town. This section of the waterway is filled with plastic. MPs say South Africans need to learn to clean up after themselves and stop using the environment as a dumping site.
We want to take this project back to our constituencies, such that we want everybody to be involved, to play their part. That's the reason we want to conserve the environment. At the same time, you know our country is very dirty. And then as leaders, we need to take that lead, to lead the communities that we lead, so that then we start to clean up our country. We want our country to be clean.
The goal is to form an opportunity for discussion amongst legislators in a non-political environment, where we are able to look specifically at issues relating to the natural environment. And in this case, we're looking specifically at the impact of plastic pollution. And I think this is quite a pertinent example of what happens when plastic gets regularly dumped into channels and canals.
We are fully aware of the impact that this single-use plastics has on the environment. I think the fact that we're paying for plastics doesn't help us much, because it still lands up in the environment, and it eventually, you can see it's in a waterway here. It will eventually make its way to the sea, and animals, it will either kill off the sea life, or the fish that take it will ingest it, and eventually it will enter the food chain and land up in human bodies.
It's time that we need to clean up the mess. Not only the corruption mess we have been witnessing, but at least also that we need to be responsible as citizens.
Of the plastic waste generated in South Africa, only 14% is recycled. This puts a strain on the country's waste management system. It also poses a health risk. In Africa, more than 30 countries have a full or partial ban on single-use plastic bags. This committee is looking at improving on regulations and possibly tightening legislation known as a plastic master plan, which aims at finding a balance between the socio-economic aspects of using plastic versus the effects on the environment. Abra Barbia, SABC News, Cape Town.
The second presidential summit on gender-based violence and femicide starts in Midrand in north of Johannesburg today. Now, the two-day summit will be held under the theme Accountability, Acceleration and Amplification Now. The summit will reflect on the work undertaken since the first presidential summit on GBVF in November 2018.